ESA, the European Space Agency, wants more European launcher companies. It's starting a competition to support new development of launch vehicles from European companies. Why is ESA doing this? Don't they already have Ariane 6 and the Vega C rocket? Well, Ariane 6 is finally flying, so that's good news, but it was plagued by lengthy delays and cost overruns. Add to that it's not reusable, something SpaceX achieved in 2015. Both rockets are fine if you don't care about price, so it works for European governments and space agencies. However, private companies and institutions are price sensitive and will go for the cheapest option that works and is reliable. The US seems to have a monopoly on reliable and affordable launches at the moment, with the honourable exception of Rocket Lab flying from New Zealand. Other players like India, Japan and China have capable rockets, but they're mostly government-run, expensive and focused on national priorities, not global commercial demand. Europe's current offerings are not competitive globally. Enter the ELC, that's a European Launcher Challenge. ESA's plan mirrors NASA's successful playbook from the past decade: invest in commercial space startups to spark innovation and drive down costs. With the global space economy valued at $447 billion in 2023, and projected to hit $1 trillion by 2030, the stakes are high. Europe wants the bigger slice of that pie, and without competitive launchers, they're missing out on payloads and profits. The ELC isn't a blank check though. Companies have until the 5th of May 2025, that's just 4 weeks from now, to submit proposals, vying for up to €169 million, that's $183 million each. This funding comes with strings. It's tied to hitting specific milestones and deliverables, and winners must also secure private investment to complement ESA's contribution. The goal? Affordable commercial launch options launched from European soil. A bonus? It might even pave the way for an Ariane 6 successor. So what are the challenges? Well, there's two. First, we'll break down the challenges, then we'll spotlight the European startups most likely to rise to the occasion and claim the prize. With this much money and opportunity on the table, every rocket-building newcomer in Europe is probably scrambling to get their bid in. Challenge 1. Launch services for ESA in the period 2026 to 2030. Companies need to provide launch services to ESA and other European institutional customers. The launch must be performed in the period 2026 to 2030. Challenge 2. Capacity upgrade demonstration by 2028. Perform a flight demonstration of an upgraded launch service planned by 2028. Okay, before we move on to the likely winners, let's first examine an open letter sent to ESA by 6 European space startups earlier this year. Regular viewers of my channel will be familiar with all 6 of these companies. For more information about any of these companies, check out my videos on them. The substance of the letter is to let ESA know what these space startups consider are key priorities for them. First, they require substantial funding. Developing and launching rockets is capital intensive, and the funding available for space startups from the private sector is less accommodating than a few years ago. Secondly, they ask for access to the main spaceport in French Guiana. This is an equatorial spaceport in South America. I find this surprising since many customers favour sun-synchronous and polar orbits which are more suited to European spaceports, like Saxiford in Scotland and Andøya in Norway. Perhaps this access will help them compete for missions that Ariane 6 would normally win. Limiting the number of awardees was also mentioned. With a fixed pot of money, too many awardees means less funding for each winner. They ask the awards are limited only to a small group of the most promising companies. No payload performance limits. They ask ESA, let the free market decide what the payload capacities should be. And finally, prioritize speed and innovation. European space startups are competing in the global marketplace. It's essential they move fast and use the latest technology, otherwise they will lose out to faster moving competitors. Likely winners of the European Launcher Challenge. Well, I've covered most of the European space startups on this channel, so I suspect the winners will be from this bunch. We don't know how many proposals will be selected. I will consider these 3 startups to be the strongest contenders: ESA Aerospace, Rocket Factory Augsburg and PLD Space. All 3 have already or are currently producing flight hardware. ESA has recently made a launch attempt, and RFA came very close before an unfortunate pad anomaly in 2024. Other possible contenders are Latitude, Sirius Space Services, Orbex, Skyrover, High Impulse, and Maya Space. I consider these startups less advanced towards their first orbital attempt than the first three. For instance, High Impulse and Skyrover are planning suborbital launches this year, suggesting it could be some time before they are ready to build and launch an orbital rocket. Maybe there will be a few surprises, we will just have to wait and see. Okay, upcoming events. European space startups have just over 4 weeks at the time of this video to submit their proposals. After proposals have been received and evaluated, a decision will be made at the ESA Council in November 2025. I'll keep you up to date on progress on this proposal and look forward to seeing which startups receive funding. Okay, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. A quick note, in the coming weeks, and it may be as soon as this weekend, I'll be launching a live stream to recap the videos I posted, answer your questions, respond to comment, chat messages, cover any missed news, and preview upcoming content. I'd love for you to join if you can. Stay tuned for details. Be sure to like and subscribe so you'll see our upcoming videos. We make videos every week covering the space industry with an emphasis on the smaller space startups that aren't covered so well on other channels. See you soon.